To round out my video on Hawx and why I think personality in a video game matters, I wanted to make this video about the sequel, Hawx 2. And I'm not here to make a case for something this time around. Rather, I just want to do a regular review of this game. Now, why would I do just a review, especially seeing as how I not only reviewed but tied an argument case with the first Hawx video? Well, you know how Hawx is average? Hawx 2 is just plain garbage. I'm not here to prove any specific point about what Hawx 2 did and tie that in with gaming as a whole this time. I'm just here to round out the Hawx review series, if you could even call it that. And unfortunately, Hawx 2 is not that good. So, with all that being said, let's get to it, shall we? Tom Clancy's Hawx 2 was released on September 3rd, 2010 as a sequel to the first Tom Clancy's Hawx. Reviews this time for the game were mixed at best, with a consistent 3 out of 5 rating or 5 to 6 out of 10 rating. Just like with the original Hawx, I picked this game up when I was a little kiddo, so I didn't know why Hawx 2 wasn't terribly good. Now, again, as a much older person, and having played through the game to get gameplay footage for this review, I can talk about all the reasons why Hawx 2 is not that good. Let's start with the gameplay. The series still has its usual fly around in a sandbox while firing at enemies on the ground and in the air formula, but it's been made worse in this installment for a number of reasons. 1. The game is less smooth compared to the original Hawx. In Hawx, the gameplay felt buttery smooth and everything had a sort of clean feel to it. In Hawx 2, everything just feels rough. That's the best way that I can describe it. Due to this rough-feeling engine the game is run on, it slows the pace of the game along with the other factors that make the gameplay experience not as good as the first game. Secondly, the AI. The enemy AI loves to go around in circles and fly at speeds that should have their planes stall but for some reason never do, which leaves you having to resort to using your gun to get some shots in on targets during a pass, and to try your hardest to get a missile lock, which even then it's not guaranteed because you could end up being way too close for the target to get a missile lock. The friendly AI, aside from a scripted segment or two, is even worse, as your ally pilots will do nothing to help you out, meaning you have to micromanage everything on your own. In the original Hawx, you could command your 2 wingmen to attack a target or to cover your 6, and they did a pretty decent job at doing that. Here, the pilots do absolutely nothing aside from a scripted segment or two, as I stated earlier. Being able to order an ally to attack a set of targets or utilizing ally anti-air to eliminate enemies is nice, but in the grand scheme of things, they just sit there in their cockpits, not lifting a single finger to help you out. And while we're on the topic of the AI, good lord, is it seriously dumbed down. You'll either get enemies that go around in circles, more enemies that'll go around in circles, enemies that will fly in straight lines firing at you but also making themselves easy to hit, enemies that fly in a scripted path in an attempt to give the game that wow factor, helicopters, more helicopters, and the absolute worst of them all, enemies that spam flares whenever you fire a missile at them, forcing you to use your gun, which can result in some really cheap scenarios. The weapon selection in Hawx 2 also contributes to the experience being hampered a little bit. Your primary missiles of choice are no longer joint strike missiles, but traditional heat-seeking missiles, which make it so that you're unable to attack ground targets as fluently. You can equip JSMs in the game, but they don't give you a one-shot kill on most ground targets and can't down an enemy bird in 2 hits, which makes them mostly useless. This means you're forced to use your secondary/special weapons such as standoff missiles and bombs, unguided bombs, air-to-ground missiles, etc., which for some reason can't multi-lock anymore in this game. It's more so a quality of flying kind of thing that just makes engagements a bit more tedious, but granted it's not massively tedious or anything of the sort. Assistance off mode makes a return, and it's just as forgettable as the original game, and due to how rough the game runs in comparison, any time spent in the assistance off mode can end up being very nauseating. There isn't even a specific level dedicated to it like the original, and I never used it once during my time recording gameplay footage. The ERS also makes a return, but it has barely any presence in the game aside from like one instance where you need to use it to get through an anti-air field. So I can't dock the game too much for it, but again, Like with the original Hawx, why add features that are never going to be used in the game? At that point, it just serves as filler. In Hawx 2, while most of the campaign is about flying around in a jet, there's a little bit of mission variety in there too. A couple of missions, you're flying drones, which is nothing to write home about. And then of course there's the obligatory AC-130 mission that feels like it was directly ripped off from COD 4's AC-130 mission, and more so done to check off a box. The mission itself is alright, nothing bad about it. It just feels generic after having played so many games that follow in COD 4's footsteps with adding in an AC-130 mission in. The plane selection in Hawx 2 is still good compared to the first, thank goodness for that, and another one of the few saving graces of Hawx 2 is the reworked progression system. For starters, you're actually able to make it to max rank in this game. Secondly, when you rank up, you're able to spend unlock tokens on different abilities which are used in multiplayer, though Hawx 2's multiplayer is dead at this point, so rest in peace, and to unlock different planes in the game. Along with the standard preset loadouts to choose from, you also have the ability to create your own custom loadout for the different planes, which I will admit was pretty cool. Being able to have at times 3 different weapons to select from was pretty cool, I gotta be honest. For a number of planes, there's also different skins that you can fly with, and some of them are surprising to see in a Tom Clancy's title. I have to give credit where it's due, it's pretty darn cool to see more creative skins being made for these jets. On the audio and visual front, it's taken a bit of a hit as well. Audio for the most part is fine, and everything from explosions, jet engines, soundtrack, etc. is all good.
Saber 3, the carrier just took another hit.
But the visuals, man, they took a hit. The aircrafts are all still detailed and great to look at, but the environments and cutscenes of the game could definitely be done better. This was also the case with the original Hawx, but sometimes in Hawx 2 things are quite jarring. For instance, when you go to land to rearm, if you're flying a plane that's carrying weapons externally, those weapons will oftentimes disappear when the landing cutscene plays. Apparently a lot of the pilots in the cutscenes are going after a hidden machine gun run only challenge, which Ace Combat did that first anyway, so And we also get a healthy dose of repetitive mouth movements during in-game cutscenes with people talking. Now, the story, this one is even worse than Hawx. The first Hawx was at least interesting enough with placing the game in a setting where private military companies are seen as the world's next generation fighting force, even if the story did have some major hiccups. Hawx's story was original for its time, or at least as original as it could be, anyway. Hawx 2's story is just bland and super unoriginal. Due to how bland and unoriginal Hawx 2's story is, this review shall follow suit. Middle East. Why does David's face look like one of those potato filters on a Zoom call? Terrorist activity. Unarmed AH-64 Apache gets shot down. F-16 makes things go boom. Surprise missile attack. David falls asleep at the stick, gets shot down. Training exercise in Britain. Plane goes boom. Night Owl drone goes Russian rebels. Oh boy, who hasn't gone through this in a video game before? More things go boom. Russian rebels take over the area while the good Russians evacuate. COD 4 AC-130 mission, except the AC-130 ate some edibles, so the camera colors are all weird. America's love for oil knows no bounds. These insurgents are heavily armed. What's going on?
Insurgents aren't supposed to be armed like this.
Drone goes while painting targets to disrupt the insurgents' network. One of, admittedly, the more cool missions of the game, doing high-altitude bombing in an F-35. Some dude named Hafiz is the leader. Strike to retake the airport. Things go boom. More things go boom. Another nighttime operation. More things go boom. Final operation to capture Hafiz. AC-130 is back and keeps stealing all of my kills. Political struggle in Russia. Separatists capture 3 nukes. Oh boy, who hasn't gone through this in a video game before with nukes? Spetsgruppe Medved, an elite unit to serve as the tip of the spear for recovering the nukes from the Separatists. More things go boom. Choo-choo, here comes the train. Only 2 nukes. Nukes carried on the planes. Escort mission. Haha, anti-air fire goes pew-pew. Oh no, ally down. Out of ammo and out of options. Time to blow up the dam. One day later, dude, why are you trying to contact air control when a nuke just went off? Nukes have an EMP effect when they go off. Also, how are you still even able to see? Oh, never mind, your free trial of living just expired. Drone goes but this time with some missiles. A scheme within the Russian government? Who would have thought? Time to make our escape. These textures did not load in properly. Machine gun only run, I take it? South Africa. A nuke is about to go off, but we stop it. Whew. Battle against Russia's navy as the British. There are too many enemies on screen and the Allies aren't doing anything to help. More defense of this fleet. This is getting tedious. Moscow. Time to get the rightful ruler of Russia back into place. Ah yes, the flare-happy group of pilots. Oh boy. Military base with nuclear missiles. Guy who wants to use those missiles to stop the separatists is overseeing the launch. These enemies like to go in circles way too much. Nukes in the air. Not sure how this ends up killing the bad guy, but okay. Get out of the tunnel before it blows. Boom. Basically, another generic plot of Russian rebels wanting to use nukes alongside insurgents in the Middle East doing their own thing. So, yeah, this game isn't good. Please don't spend your money on this game, even if you have a morbid curiosity. Just watch a Let's Play instead, please. With that being said, that will conclude this video, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, make sure to leave a like, drop a comment, and if you really want to, you can hit the subscribe button and be sure to click that bell icon to receive all notifications for future uploads. If the idea of more in-depth / analysis gaming videos sounds like a thing that you would enjoy, do feel free to hit the subscribe button and click that bell. I noted those things twice. I am terribly sorry for being an idiot for my outro. With that all being said, stay safe, stay healthy, and peace out, everyone.